Hey, my name is Ricardo Stevon, and you're tuned into the Houseless, Music in Action with Cole Williams.
The Black Panthers coined the phrase power to the people during the freedom movement. Today, right now, in this moment, we are all called to uplift those people that you don't make eye contact with and pass on the streets, the least of ours. We gotta dig deep, and we gotta dig deeper. We gotta scream, we gotta shout, we gotta bang on doors, and we gotta let them know to empower the people. We must give power to the people.
Yesterday is far away, my tomorrow's your today. Nothing's what it really seems to be. Walk the road less traveled, then you find yourself in trouble. Some people don't want some people to be free. Spending all our time on the other side. Dance 'cause the whole world's watching you. You are life's pop culture. If you don't, then they don't wanna.
Welcome, everybody, back to the Houseless, Music in Action with Cole Williams, episode 10, coming to you from the virtual fake office of Rope-a-Dope and going out to Offbeat and various other social media platforms. We hope you'll stick around. I want to start out with Mr. Fabian Brown of Rope-a-Dope fame and many other things. Fabian, welcome. Let's kick it off.
Thanks. I really appreciate that, Louis. And I wanted to take a second to welcome everyone to apparently our 10th episode of the Houseless. So make sure you rewind the tape and see the journey from the beginning to today. And today we're actually going to head down to New Orleans, to the heartbeat of New Orleans, exploring an extraordinary journey of Miss Cole Williams, a complete musical force and an advocate for
Absolutely.
Houseless. From Brooklyn to New Orleans, Cole's work transcends many different genres. As a musician, a songwriter, a producer, a humanitarian, her melodies echo a purpose beyond the stage. We'll explore her latest album, Give Power to the People, and how it channels the legacy of Gil Scott-Heron as a rally cry for justice. Now, beyond the studio, Cole leads the greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team, renovating blighted houses alongside the unhoused. Cole Williams is a complete beacon of hope for a more equitable world. So join us, guys, here today as we dive in deep with not only Miss Cole Williams, but also with a special guest who I'll let her have the honor of introducing. Cole, welcome to the show.
Oh my God. We back. It's so good to be back. I feel like I was lost last month. What month was last month? Because we didn't have the Houseless, Music in Action. And this definitely, it's an anchor. I knew it was an anchor, but I really realized it last month during like busy Jazz Fest month and festival month in New Orleans. Again, I want to thank one of our partners, Offbeat Magazine, for live streaming. Offbeat definitely covers some of New Orleans' most relevant culture. Before we get to our special guest, Maurice Dejan, I also want to let people know that if they want to sign up for volunteer organizing workshops, which means learning how to volunteer organize with the least of ours. So the least of ours can be the houseless, the least of ours can be the housing at risk. Any area in our humanity that you think can use a little buffering, and you want to learn how to organize with the people that need the help, you can sign up at GNOCitizensRelief@gmail.com. Also, tomorrow I'm holding an open rehearsal at Cafe Istanbul in New Orleans. And this is my Give Power to the People live program. We're going to sort of just give a sample, but I wanted to just start to bring the music and the action, the words to the stage for more people to have access to like what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Well, we've had some guests on this show, some guests that I want to get to know better because I love their work. So I get to know them through that lens. But today's guest is really special to me because I don't always have a chance to introduce my audience or the people that I know to the people that inspire me and empower me. So it's like if you meet someone and they inspire you, you got to think, how are they inspired? There's a community of people and places and experiences. And Miss Maurice Dejan is one of these people. So when I first moved to New Orleans in 2015, I don't even know how I stumbled into the station, but somehow everybody's talking about WWOZ, the best community radio station. They really support the musicians. And it's true. I feel like I just stumbled in there. I was like, hey, I'm Cole. I just moved here from Brooklyn. And, people were like talking to me. It's so, it's so different from the East Coast. But the first person that spoke to me was Miss Maurice. So I started volunteering with WWOZ in 2015 because of this woman. And I always tell you this whenever I see you, but Miss Maurice, she said to me, she listened to me as I'm talking and I got these ideas and I hadn't slowed down yet. And she was looking, just like she's looking right now. She nodded. And then she said, it is a privilege to be on the radio. And that just like slowed me down right there. And so everything that Maurice has said to me has been to me, always has this profound weight because I don't just feel like she's telling me what to do or telling me what she thinks I should do because she would do it. It's like a woman that also in her own way walks her talk, talks her walk. And she's definitely this beacon and this light in New Orleans that a lot of people know because you're on the radio, but you have a story. And Miss Maurice, I want to introduce you and I want you to start talking about your story, but I just want to read this quote because you think you know someone and then you get to know them a little bit more. So Tripod Nola interviewed you some years ago and you said, to quote, Haitians in general do very well because we have a sense of self. And that was a gift of the ancestors, who fought for freedom. And when you have that, then you can move through different countries and you can recognize opportunities. And no matter what, you're going to do the very best. You've got to carry on with that in both paying respects to what they did for you and also just acknowledging the strength that it inherently gave to you. For me, this is so loaded as somebody that works with the Houseless, that is now a New Orleanian that sees the strength and power of culture. But can you introduce yourself to the people, your story, as much as you want to share about being of Haitian descent, moving to the States, having your own discovery of New Orleans, and this work that you're doing right now? Like, I feel like I'm one of your children. So please talk to us, Ms. Marie.
Well, my name is Maryse Dejan, and my husband Don Paul and I work with Sticking Up for Children, which is an organization that we got through Cyril Neville of New Orleans. Cyril Neville was supporting an orphanage that where I was volunteering years ago. That was even slightly before 2009 or so. I was helping Marie-Josée Pou, lovingly known as Marie-Jo Pou. She is a phenomenal woman who had always been doing wonderful things for artists in Haiti, supporting their work, promoting their work, both visual artists and musicians. And she started noticing issues with young people, children. And we talked a little bit about orphanages in Haiti and how, maybe the services were uneven. And short story, she went to Haiti and came back. And from the look on her face, I said, "What have you done?" And she pulled out these papers. They were registrations for an orphanage.
She just did it.
And she said, "Well, I was in Haiti, and the man who worked in organizing this orphanage, managing this orphanage, and his wife died, and he took me aside and he said, I can't do it, not without my wife. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but here, I know you can do it here." And uh, and that's how I got the papers, and I thought, oh my goodness. Well, anyway, this started the spiral of different things, and Cyril Neville found out what was happening and what we were doing, and he found out that I was volunteering with that orphanage, and he said, "I'd like to do something." He donated the royalties from a song that he had written about Haiti, which is called Haiti, which is the Taino word
Mhm.
for the island. And so this is how Don and I acquired Sticking Up for Children. And one of our statements or slogans is teaching young people to create new worlds. Um, so we've been working at that in different ways, remotely, and sometimes when we were able to go to Haiti, we would visit, document, and also talk to the children and see what was possible all around. Now it's a whole different story because Haiti is in crisis. There's always been crisis, but this has been exacerbated by different things, and the media is not kind. I think that there's really an effort, just instead of creating understanding, I think that there is an effort really to promote misinformation about what is actually going on. I am from Haiti. I was born in Haiti. I was born in Arcaye, Haiti, just up the coast of Haiti. And Arcaye is considered one of the bread baskets of Haiti because we have a lot of plantains. We have, we had deep agriculture. And for many who may not know the history of Haiti, this has gone down, I mean, seriously, with people being unable to produce as they used to for different reasons that are very complex. And perhaps, Cole, you can redirect me and ask me questions about that if you wish. But because of the political situation in Haiti, then it turned out that I was relocated. My family and I got relocated. My adoptive family had to flee Haiti because Francois Papadoc Duvalier was in power around that time. And, from the tripod interview, um, my father was called he had been a career diplomat, and he was called into Francois Duvalier's office, and Francois Duvalier himself told him that he wanted my father to work in his cabinet. My father refused. And I said, wow, well, when he was telling me this story years later, I asked him why. He said that he felt something, deep. He felt something evil. And so he very politely said that he was retiring and that he wanted to go back to the countryside and teach, because I think that fundamentally, that was one of his, primary gifts, teaching people. So it was less than 24 hours after that, people came to the house where we lived, and they were friends of my father's who said, "There's Joe here. Well, you got to get him out. He has to leave because his name is on a list now, and he needs to get out of here." So the Tonton Macoute, which was Duvalier's personal militia, came to our house um, that night. And I have to tell this, this little sidebar, the story, because my uncle, Pierre Balin, who was at the house at the time, recently passed away um, at the end of January of this year. He would have been, oh, I forget, he was in his 80s. And so he was at the house, and the Tonton Macoute wanted information about where Joseph Desjans was, so they took him out to the courtyard of the house, where there was a van in which they had come, and some people said that Duvalier was in the van because he wanted to personally settle the score when he got a hold of Joseph Desjans. And about 12 Tontomacoutes surrounded my uncle with submachine guns, which were all the rage at the time. And he was questioned. He never said anything, and he just told them that he didn't know, and that was it. All the while, my uncle was just, total cool. And as he was that way throughout all of his life. But I think that such an experience leaves a lot of trauma, and we can revisit that. But at any rate, my father went into hiding, spent 6 months in hiding, got political asylum through the Mexican embassy, and then traveled through the southern part of the United States to get to Washington, D.C. He was absolutely horrified by all the things that he saw, because we're talking about being in full Jim Crow era at the time. And after that, when I told my father that I wanted very much to go to New Orleans and to see what New Orleans was like, and really to explore perhaps some of our roots, because some of our family actually came from New Orleans, left New Orleans, and moved to Haiti.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is really, it's absolutely fascinating. But my father was again horrified. And when I did move, he would send me clippings from the Christian Science Monitor, from all these different papers. And it showed the Klan in action, photos of Klansmen. And he was totally frightened, and also horrified again by that history and those images and the memories of the things that he experienced firsthand. So I'm a transplant in New Orleans, just as you are, Miss Cole, and I'm realizing that my answers are going beyond the 30-second mark there. But do
You have no
interject.
time limit. You have no time limit. You're in a row. Well,
Okay. Well, when I came to visit, what astounded me about New Orleans, first and foremost, was actually seeing people and looking into their faces, looking into their eyes, and realizing that, oh my gosh, like these are like my relatives. because I recognized so many people uh, who were in Haiti, that I remembered growing up. I was only in Haiti until I was 4 years old when we were forced to flee and to rejoin my father in Conakry, Guinea, where we lived for 5 years before I relocated here. We relocated to Washington, D.C., and I grew up in Washington, D.C. in the Silver Spring area. But I always had that fascination, about New Orleans and all the things that might interest you as a viewer, um, the history of New Orleans, the music, and the Mississippi River, and then Louis Armstrong, all these things. I was totally intrigued. I was intrigued with, you know, thinking about these things. And when I came in, let me tell you, it did not disappoint because I saw the architecture, the food, the people, and also I was able to see the connection when when brass bands or just bands in general performed. I was struck by something too because I saw photographs of Keith Calhoun and Chandra McCormick, where one in particular, they've taken this photograph in a small club of New Orleans, and it shows these men who are in a band, right? But they're caught mid-air, just jumping, and it reminded me of all the tribal um, rituals that people in West Africa that I saw in West Africa. So I felt that the connection was intense. It was fascinating. I loved the people, and I came to visit and never left. And 42 years later, here we are.
you
Now,
you share so much. I told you this is going to be part one because I know there's so much information with you, Ms. Maurice. You touched on so much. So I'm hearing this deep connection with New Orleans and Haiti. I'm hearing this deep connection with struggle as well, and going from struggling to thriving, and working with Sticking Up for Children. I'm hearing about Cyril Neville donating. That's music in action, silently donating royalties
yes.
to an organization. I'm sure he wouldn't want you to say that, but these are things that people do. And so I'm thinking about you here in New Orleans, and was it the struggle? Was it what you experienced with your childhood that's really deep and heavy, just being connected yet disconnected from family, that sort of made you think about children in a special way when you were thinking about developing Sticking Up for Children with Don Paul?
Well, I think perhaps that it was just maybe the way God made me. Just- and somehow that resonated with me. And it seemed that, of course, children are our future. And we always talk about we shouldn't eat our young. And yeah,
What does that
and
mean?
well, okay, I'll tell you what. We shouldn't sacrifice our children, for any reason whatsoever. And in Haiti, as I've seen in Jamaica as well, when you see school children um, leaving home and going to school, no matter where they come out of, they are like clean, clean as a board of health. The girls have the hair ribbons, beautiful hair ribbons. Their hair is neatly combed. The boys have their shirts ironed, washed, ironed, starched. And it's the same thing in Haiti, that a family will sacrifice to make, they may not have themselves personally. And if it means sacrificing so that their little child can have an education and go to school and have even a half a meal a day, they will make that happen. And I'm so struck by a line that Don and I heard in a movie. It's called I Am Haiti, where they're talking about how rough everything is, what the struggle is. And um, one of the people in the films who is an artist said, Haitians don't have time to think about suicide. Are you kidding me? We don't have time to think about that. We have to. It's the struggle, and I think we think about life and how we are going to cultivate and foster life, and failure, the culture of death, or that's not even there, even though we're surrounded by it, by the struggle. We are going to work, and we're going to do it step by step, no matter how long it takes, no matter how much we personally have to give up. We're going to do it because the children need it.
I'm going to hold on to that. We're going to go to our video. We're going to come right back to that, Ms. Maurice. We want to go to this video, How We Give Power to People, that's narrated by Curtis Muhammad. And then we're going to pick back up with speaking about family structure and family supporting youth and how family can really provide that safe space, that shelter.
October 5th, 2020. How we give power to the people. The Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team is a group of citizens who volunteer their gifts, skills, talents, and resources to renovate and restore the city, state, and federally owned, uncared for, and dilapidated properties for and with those without housing. During the pandemic, we began advocating for the city and state to provide shelter for those living on the streets of New Orleans. While the city and state did provide hotel rooms and shelter for about 70% of the people, hundreds and maybe thousands are still living on the street. Because of this, we have organized a group of volunteer carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and other skilled construction workers to begin. We also teach these skills to the houseless, who also volunteer. All the construction skills so they will have marketable skills to sustain themselves after they have completed the house they will live in. While the city and state have yet to give permission for us to do this work, we believe that at a time of a pandemic, the citizens still have the right to take charge of unused and uncared for properties that are owned by the taxpayers, the citizens. Signed, Curtis Muhammad.
So, Ms. Maurice, Curtis Muhammad, I remember he referred to you as the woman with the golden voice. And Curtis has always been big on family. That's the late Curtis Muhammad, my mentor in the movement. And so we have this global family that struggles. And I'm looking at the example of our families and what you just said about sacrificing for the children and not sacrificing the children. So when you're talking about the school children in Haiti and Jamaica, I automatically remembered, I can picture it. You know what school the children go to by the color of their uniform. Going to school is like going to a job, so there's a respect level. So, we're speaking about this houseless issue, people being uncared for, youth houselessness. And you're making me think that we have been sacrificing our children instead of sacrificing for our children. And I just want to get your feedback on that because I'm approaching and addressing houselessness in New Orleans and in the States, but this is a global issue because sticking up for children are working with children in an orphanage, right? So,
That's right.
so we're creating support systems where the family systems haven't always supported. What can we do today as parents?
I think that that's always a question that is so overwhelming because when we look directly at the problems of the world, everything is so huge that you don't really know where to begin. But recently, during one of my devotionals, I read a passage that said, you may not, everything that you're supposed to do is not going to be revealed to you in one fell swoop. A large part of that, the revelations come to us as we are working. I'm sorry, my dog just saw the postman, and I don't know if you can hear. So I think what's really important, and this is what impressed me, is the smallest thing that you think you can do is a very big thing in the whole scheme of it. Because if you can start something, if you can make a small donation, if you don't have anything to donate, but you have your time, if you can go and volunteer for a couple of hours a week, if you can talk to someone about maybe donating construction materials, if you can just go to the organization and talk to them, get to know them, because I think that much will be revealed if you can start to get to know people and get out of your shell and begin to make some connections, because we're not isolated, we're not working by ourselves. I think that that's a big mistake, in an office or in other areas of the community, when we think that we've got to shoulder the burden of things by ourselves, then I think that discouragement can set in. But if you're thinking in terms of community, and that every single person in the community has gifts to offer, and that by doing your part, stepping up, no matter how small it might seem, it might be just walking to walking to the organization, knocking on the door or making a call and finding out what they need, or just getting information. That is a beginning in itself, because I think that in the process, you're going to start to get, the directions, the directions
Mhm.
about what steps you can take.
What is it about service, like the act of getting involved in service, that sort of opens you up to these revelations? Because I know that you understand the power of volunteering, and I think all of us that are here on this line, we understand how important and impactful and necessary service is to our humanity. But what do you think it is about service that just opens up this portal? Because there's some people that are watching that are thinking, I don't have time. I have 3 kids and I got to take this one to this thing. And I have this job. And, my husband and I work different hours. And so there's a lot of excuses as to why we can't be in service. But I personally know that when I sort of shifted like a dial, shifted my perspective, shifted what matters, shifted like everything in my life, the standards, what I hold as valuable, there's so much time for service.
You have to that's something that I think we have to prioritize in some way. We have to realize that we were not created to be entities unto ourselves, but God created us for service, and it's only in serving that we become fulfilled in the different areas that we think, that we feel called to.
Somebody out there is saying a calling. They said, okay, you're trying to sign me up to volunteer, but a calling. So do you have to have this calling to be a volunteer? I work with a lot of volunteers, like I know you do, and I think some come with this light,
Hmm.
something brought them, and then some others, they come in service and they're active, not necessarily the same light, but not giving anything less. So do you have to have one to have the other?
I think that it's only in moving towards that you will find out whether or not you have the calling. It may be that you don't have a calling for a specific area, but um, Spirit speaks to us in many ways. And sometimes to know the next step, you have to be in a specific place. If something is going through your mind, I need to, uh, I should find out about the houseless movement, for instance. That's the beginning. That there are questions that go through your mind, through your heart. Mostly, you felt led to that, and so you should yield to it and go find out. And don't be afraid. Or even if you are afraid, just go ahead and do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing, volunteers that ask questions, potential volunteers, when they ask, so what is this about? And those are all the
Yeah.
steps. Yes, I hear all of that. Um, so I'm very much a lover of children, animals, something about children and animals. I've always just had a deep affection for them because they have a lot of infrastructure built around them and they don't have a lot of choices, so I'm very mindful when it comes to children. So there's a special place in my heart for youth that are experiencing houselessness, um, youth that are living even in orphanages, because that family structure, you can fill it in and you can make up for certain things. But I think we all know the power of having, that mother and that father. What what draws you to working with Marie-Jo, working with the youth, but also like what exactly they're doing? Because they've made sandals, hand stitched. They've designed. Have they designed the drumsticks, or were those the drumsticks that we designed?
Well, the drumsticks actually are those that we designed, and that was Cyril Neville's idea with his band. He was with the Royal Southern Brotherhood at the time. And Cyril said that, I just thought about something. We keep all these old drumsticks we have, we just throw them out, but we could paint them. We could make them really beautiful and then auction them off and use the money for the orphanage. That's how the drumsticks
Okay.
started. And I have some just like behind me right there too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me about the sandals. So I think so. Why I love the sandals and why I love to support the children making the sandals is because they're in a space where they don't feel like they have anything to offer. I'm thinking, and so to put them in this, so to take them in this space of survival, and then to have them thrive by contributing, making a tangible product that's also contributing to their lifestyle, so that they actually get to see like how life works. I really do enjoy that, because there are so many life lessons that I think we don't get until we're way into adulthood, and we have a lot of adults as children, and sometimes we get into situations, and so sometimes we don't have that support, and sometimes that's why you see a lot of adult houseless on the street, is because in those formative years they didn't get all that support. So tell me about the sandals, and how did it come to be that the youth are making and contributing to their space?
The Sandals Project was started at EFE, which is École Foyer Espoir pour les Enfants, which is the school that is linked with the orphanage. After a while, Marie-Jo figured that, wow, what are we gonna do? Like, do we send all these children to different schools, or what do we do? And my aunt, who is an educator in Haiti, who has well over 60 years of experience, she's 88 and is still working in her school, still teaching. And most recently, it was a victory for them, because she insisted that the students come through, and that they wear their uniforms. And because she said that children should not be, they shouldn't have to be afraid to walk with their uniforms, to go to their schools. My aunt was visiting Marie-Jo sometime back, and she was visiting the orphanage. She told Marie-Jo, I feel sad because these children, my goodness, they're going to school here at the orphanage. Some teachers were coming, and they were being homeschooled. She said, I feel sad because it's like they have to eat, sleep, and go to school in the same space. And when summertime comes around, it's summer vacation time, but it really doesn't feel like they've gotten a break from anything. And she told Marie-Jo, that's your mission. You need to build a school. So that's how that was started. And just down the street, Marie-Jo, by hook and crook, managed to get the school built. And they started off with a few grades, and then added as each year went by. I think they started off with maybe the 34 children at the orphanage, and some other children in the neighborhood, and it was 75, and all of a sudden it just really like skyrocketed to over 200.
What are the age ranges of the children right now?
Right now, you have them from I think 14 months all the way up to 2021. The 20 and 21s are no longer considered part of the orphanage. However, they contribute a lot because they come back and they work there, and either volunteer, and they help with the younger children. One particular young man, Olivier, he was 10 years old when Don and I met him at the orphanage, and Olivier is, I think, 20 now. He is a school and the orphanage photographer.
Oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah.
sticking up for sticking up for children. Sent him a camera, and he's actually studying photography professionally, and that's his contribution, taking photographs and sending them back. And you can see them, on Sticking Up for Children's website as well.
We'll put the website in the chat too. See, this is
Okay.
organizing. This is organizing. The people that have experienced, through the struggle and have crossed over, have got over.
Yes.
Those are the people that are in the best position to train the
But
next.
yes, but I just realized something too. Like the Sandals Project was an outgrowth, a growth of the programs at the school, because we realized that we would have to do trades. because what would these children do later on? They would have to have trades, even if they didn't stay in that trade. But that was a good way of introducing them to possibilities of what
Absolutely.
they could do in life. The Sandals Project is at a standstill because of the situation and the difficulty in getting materials there, and also finding another teacher. So um, we're hoping that this will resume, and meanwhile, we continue.
What can we do on this program? Is there a call to action that we can make on this program to help with locating a teacher? I know with the supplies, it's a little difficult now.
Well, I think definitely helping us make plans so that when the opportunity, when it opens up again, when planes can actually touch the ground at the Port-au-Prince airport, when things open up, that we can get materials there, and also figuring out different ways to do things digitally, because I think that you could also teach online. This is
Okay.
what's being open. This is what's opening up. My aunt has a program also, which you'll see on stickingupforchildren.com, which is called L'école tout partout, school everywhere. In the Haitian Creole, it's L'école tout partout. And these are lessons that anybody who has a smartphone or who has access to an iPad or who can find, their way around the internet can actually look for L'école tout partout, and their lessons where individuals who've never learned to read or write, whether they're children who've never had a chance to go to school, or they're adults who are in their 60s and they never had the opportunity to go to school to learn to read and write. This is something that they can do by themselves.
It is accessible to all. Is there a fee? Is it free?
Right now, there are no fees involved. Of course, there will always be fees because there are notebooks and pencils and things, supplies that you need to send. But it's accessible, and anyone who has the will and the drive can go to YouTube and see some of the videos, and they can teach themselves, the fundamentals.
We're
We
gonna
have
find videos.
we have pilot projects going on right now. There's one um, in the south of Haiti, um, where 16 women, it started off with 18, but there are 16 women who wanted to learn how to read and write also, and they've been at it, they've been really persistent. And at this point, it started last year in the fall, and right now all 16 in the program can actually they can write their names, which is
Well,
huge.
yes, it is.
It's huge because um, if you don't know how to read or write, in Haiti, for instance, when you have to witness something, then you have to make an X. And now you have 16 individuals who know their letters. They know the consonants, they know the vowels, they know how to put things together. They're slowly beginning to read simple words, and they can write their names.
Literacy is big. There have been a
It's
lot of
huge.
houseless gentlemen that we've met that were illiterate. So operating at a second grade level, maybe a fifth grade level, it is huge.
And so I think the right of every individual is to be able to have access to education. Our cities, our countries, our communities um, need to make sure that people have access to that. So I think education, housing, um, And food, learning to grow your own food.
You're touching on there are these I think it's the 9 points, but food, clothes, shelter, water, clothing, transportation, electricity or energy,
Mhm.
self-governance. Like these are all basics that we need to have covered
Basics.
in order to live. This is not like
Yes.
live in a grandiose way. This is just being able to live, and that we have to barter, that we have to I sort of make a trade-off, excuse me,
Yes.
of our water for our house or our energy for self-governance. We're giving away our self-governance and we're giving away everything else. And self-governance is the ability to govern yourself, to make your own decisions, to say that I want the street light on my block fixed and I need it fixed for safety reasons. And I have the right to say that. And it's true and it's a fact and everybody here is affected by it. But if we don't elect the right people to do so, right? So,
That's right. And also, I don't think it's wrong to require our leaders to be accountable to us, citizens, to be accountable and to tell us what they've done, what they've been able to do, and if not, how can we get this done?
absolutely. Well, it's in our Declaration of Independence, right? I think it's the first page that we, the people, have the right to elect a government to carry out our will. And if that government does not carry out our will, we, the people, have the right to take that power away from that government and enact another government. So these are our
Yes.
rights. So, I'm always going to go back to the houses because that's my end into the movement. So when I think about housing as an issue, it's not an issue. When I think about us reclaiming and renovating city owned, citizen owned, blighted property that's sitting there abandoned, that's an
Hmm.
eyesore, that's becoming a haven for all kinds of despicable deeds that contribute to taking down a neighborhood. When we, the people, say, hey, the government isn't really doing anything, but we want to clean up our neighborhood, and these are the ways that we want to do it, we don't see
I
the opposition.
I think back to the words of John F. Kennedy, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Let's take it down, to the basics, to the real cellular level. Um, what can I do for my community?
I love that one.
So I really commend you for what you are doing and how you've grown since you came to New Orleans, how you're using the power of music to make change, and how you're making change with members of the community um, with their input.
It's humbling, you know? I think one of the biggest, one of the best character traits anybody can have is humility, because humility just allows you this peace to really openly and evenly exchange with people. So it's just a wonderful space to be in. And I, I say this very lightly because it's God, that is working through me. But it's so nice to talk to people without judgment.
Hmm.
To speak to a houseless person, sometimes there's an odor, right? You're living on the street and I smell it and it doesn't matter. Not that I don't notice it, right? So we like to do that thing of, I don't notice color. I don't notice this. No, we notice it. It's okay to notice it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't detract from the person. And I have been able to meet some amazing people in the community that I would have never met had I not allowed myself to go to the bottom, organize from the bottom, and take instruction and be mentored and continue to be mentored and continue to learn and continue to fail. Like everything that
Mm-hmm.
I do isn't perfect. I am failing in front of people's eyes, whether people realize it or not. I'm making mistakes, I'm making errors, I'm figuring out how to do it with people that are supportive, but my focus is like the people. So if it works for the people, not me. If the
Mm-hmm.
people, it's okay with the people, then it's okay with me. So I think we have to be brave and volunteer. Maybe nobody else in our family and friend circle volunteers, but maybe you're the first person that's going to start volunteering. Maybe they're waiting for somebody to set it off. Don't be afraid to get involved with people that society has turned their nose up against. If you feel something, get to know people before you make a judgment. If you have a judgment against a group of people, why don't you take an opportunity to get to know them? I think that there's so
Mm-hmm.
many reasons for us to get together and we struggle for no reason. I don't see it anymore. Collective. If we get collective, um, we grow stronger.
I totally agree with you. And I think the movement, from youth to getting older is that realization that you're not there by yourself. And in fact, we're not there to do things by ourselves, but rather to do for others, with others, and in a way that is beneficial to them.
Yeah. You know, we're running out of time. Um, and I want to say one more thing before I ask you this other question. The relationships between the young and the old, um, those relationships are vital. And I see the young people running away from the old people, and I see the old people running the young people away. And I don't see a lot of understanding, listening, acceptance, learning. There is so much. So you talk about this growth that I've had, Miss Maurice. I could have grown. I've had other experiences that could have made me grow, like far before like any experience around 2020. But this elder man, 60-year civil rights veteran, saw something in me and poured more into me than he knew I was capable of even appreciating at the time. So he didn't pour into me because of him, his ego. He poured into me because he knew something would stick. And as an elder, you got to give it away. You can't take it with you. So he taught me how strong that relationship is. And a lot of people didn't understand our relationship because we were so close. That was like my father. There's no words. There's a love that cannot be explained. And the people that make you step outside of yourself and say, what can I do for us? Those are those people like Mr. Curtis, so it's just a
Indeed.
blessing. Yeah, it's a blessing to be here on our 10 episode anniversary with, I don't call you Miss Maurice as like an elder, or I call you Miss Maurice out of such respect. That is the only phrase I can let you know, the only way I can let you know on a consistent basis and let other people know how much I respect you because of how you model behavior. So I'm so happy to have you on this program as somebody that's still living in truth and living in service and training people. And yeah, it's wonderful.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And just like you, I feel that um, there are many times when I'm not hitting the mark. However, I'm not going to give up.
Right on. Miss Maurice, thank you so much. We're going to make sure to share the links for Sticking Up for Children at stickingupforchildren.com. I also want people to read that article about you in, what is it?
Tripod. Is
Tripod.
it tripod? Yes.
Tripod Nola, yes. And then also you can hear this lovely golden voice hosting Jazz from Jax every Monday at, is it 4 p.m.? Central Time?
4 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Yes.
Central Time.
This was such a wonderful discussion.
Thank you so much, Cole.
Louis.
And thank you.
Yes, Maurice, thank you for that firsthand and in-depth, more in-depth than people usually get, description of things that are happening in Haiti and things that are going on there. I think so many people have so much to learn about that. And I just want to add to what you said. While volunteering is so rewarding and wonderful, helping volunteers by making a donation is a very good thing to do. And I think that people who are watching tonight, and as you share this, the link is there, stickingupforchildren.com. And of course, Cole's post is for the Greater New Orleans Citizens Relief Team. I think we talk a lot on this program. Thank you for that, Cole. More about the process and about the doing, because so many people are asking for money. But I'll be the one to say that you all are a perfect place to send money to keep this thing going, because you're obviously closer to be able to do something than so many people are. So to the audience that's out there, that's my 2 cents. And please do read up on the history of Haiti. It is a really fascinating and I think a story of the 21st century at this point. We're going to see what happens here. So
that's right.
Come back and join us again. There's like more there's more we have to unpack.
I would love to, and thank you so much. It's really an honor.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Where are we going now, Cole?
This has been so full and lush. Like, we have a blueprint, but it's all right if we don't get to certain things today, because I want to leave our audience on this note. This is very powerful.
Strangely enough, I picked a song for the outro tonight, and we're going to hear it as we see a slideshow of Cole and her work. The song is called Wonder Woman. And as I was listening to it, I was thinking of you, Cole. But it is from 2 musicians, one by the name of Paul Beaubrun.
Oh. Maurice and Don, you know him?
Yes. Yes.
And he's joined with his writing partner and longtime friend, Michael Brun, who is also from Haiti. These are 2 people that are having fun, writing, singing, dancing, and making the world a happier place, all the while remembering and bringing people back to their story. So that's an appropriate outro for today by some strange turn of events. And
thank you.
Thank you so much. And
Thank
here we go.
This Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. Uje benimla, uje ubenimla. We pusa. This Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman. Baby, once I got a taste, it was legendary. Yeah, I thought it was a phase, but you got into me. Now I haven't left for days, I don't know where I live. Hit the streets and my G's, I've been looking for me. Casanova, party over. When I hold you, know it's for life. Used to be a sniper with the Uzi. Now I'm running back to you to make a move. Mumbanya Dura, Dura. Alone, see, this Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. Conjungo gadi, vem pra cavalinho, energia
agressé. Nous transcender tout ça qui pas voulu nous marcher. C'est monter, n'a monter. We rise, we fight, we fly, never fall. We strong, we stay to love another day. Bon Dieu bénis la, bon Dieu ou bénis la. Oui, priez pour ça, pour ça, pour ça, pour ça. This Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. Yama, 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 yama. Mong banya dura.